Joined now by John Dickerson, our chief Washington correspondent and anchor of Face the Nation. John, good to see you. What are you watching out for tonight?
Well, there are arguments that have been going on around this race. First thing we want to know is what does it mean for the Senate and the paper-thin margin there. But these bigger arguments, who's going to have a new line in those discussions? There are two big things that have come out of this race. One, how do accusers of powerful men get treated in politics? That's been at the center of this race. Depending on who wins, people will decide about that. And then the second question is, what does it mean to be a Republican? When the RNC, the Republican National Committee, and the president supported Roy Moore, a number of Republican office holders felt like that went too far, that the party was supporting somebody just because they had an R next to their name and there were no other standards. So how does that get argued after the results come in?
Regarding the Trump accusers, the White House says that people knew about all of this before the election and voted the way they did anyway.
Well, you know, that standard has been changing in American life, and that's been changing while this election has been going on. So if that held, if it's true that accusations heard before an election night are wiped out by the election, well, why wouldn't that apply to Roy Moore? But you've now got lots of Republican senators saying, even if he wins, we'll take this up and we'll look at his case. Well, if that's true for Roy Moore, why isn't it worth looking at those accusers again for the president?
And so whether it's this case or Roy Moore, how does this figure into the future then of the Republican Party as a whole?
Well, there have been some pretty rough things said from Republicans about their president, about their party. So how does Humpty Dumpty get put back together again when we're talking about moral claims, integrity here, on both sides, really? Because there are a number of people who say these critics of the president's and the Republican National Committee are just running at the first sign of danger, that they're not true Republicans. So when you say those kind of hard things, does it just go away? Well, we've got a lot of elections ahead of us. There's a chance for all that to come back.
John Dickerson, thanks very much.
Thanks, Jeff.